When it comes to being a self-made millionaire, there's a couple ways that people do it. Some do it through real estate, a lot do it through companies, but some do it through tax advantage accounts, which is what we're going to be looking at today with the IRAs and the 401ks. Now, this is the reason for building seven-figure wealth. The first step in getting $1 million in that 401k or that IRA is making a contribution. That is really the first baby step, but not only just a contribution, but contributing as much as you can or as much as you can afford to put in there. Now, of course, regular contributions will really maximize the amount that you have in there, allowing the compounding interest and the growth factors to take place when you're putting money into that 401k plan. This is honestly the pivotal part. For a majority of Americans, they are not contributing to a 401k or an IRA or to retirement accounts at all. And if they are contributing, it is at a very, very small amount. We're seeing 1%, 2%. I believe even the national average big picture is around 5% contribution, which we know is way far off of the 15% that they recommend for being and living a comfortable life during retirement. Number two, getting the dollar match. So again, a lot of companies do offer dollar for dollar matches up to a certain percent. 4% is traditionally what we see. 6% is some of the bigger companies. My company offers 7%, which is kind of a game changer, but getting every available dollar really is free money. If you're putting money in, so if I'm putting 7% in, they're putting 7% in, you are matching it dollar for dollar. If you're making $60,000 salary a year and you're putting in that 6%, you're putting in $6,300 a year, which is kind of crazy, is what you're getting for free. You put in 6,300, they put in 6,300. This is a way to not only compound the growth that you're going to see in there, but also the contributions that you see in there, because you're literally doubling what is in there. Now, a lot of companies also do offer a match like 50 cents on the dollar for 2%. There's a lot of different ways that they do this. So make sure that you know your company. And if you've seen the advertisements from Robinhood, and again, know all the details of this, they actually do IRA contribution matches up to 3%, which is kind of crazy because, again, they are giving you free money to go ahead and put money into accounts with Robinhood. I got some links down below if you do want to check it out. But I found it pretty interesting that there's an individual investment company that does match IRA contributions outside of employers. Very, very cool to see. Number three, starting early. This is the biggest, probably game changer that we see. The young savers are going to have a huge advantage if they're putting money into these investment or retirement accounts, because if you start when you're young, of course, you're giving an exponential amount of years until you get to retirement. If you're looking to retire in, let's say, 40 or 50 years, depending on your age, it's kind of crazy to think how much growth you can have if you start your retirement plans in your 20s and 30s, how much exponential growth you can get. And according to a couple different sources, they're saying retirement age is now being moved, possibly looking at a bill to 69 years of age. As people continue to live longer, the retirement age keeps going up and up. It used to be 62. Then we moved Social Security to 65. Then it was 67. And now there's something in the ballot that is going to 69 years old. That is right before you get the full benefits of Social Security to go ahead and start taking tax advantage accounts, and making sure this is the reason why having the money in the 401k and the IRAs that are going to be supplementing your income during retirement is very important. Number four, investing consistently over time. If you literally start a first job, let's say you're 18, you're 20, you're 22, you set that contribution limit to 15% and carry it all the way until retirement, I can guarantee you that you are going to have a very, very successful retirement if you spend your entire career putting that 15% away up front, which really over time, being consistency and being consistent is what separates the six figures from the 7-figure earners and the $1 million in that 401k plan, the automatic contribution. So essentially, if you treat it as a bill, if you never miss a pay period, if every single time you get paid, 15% is going in there. If you get a company match, great. We're still putting that 15% in there, and doing it consistently will really harness the power of compounding interest. And it's kind of crazy. Even if you start a new job and you see, how much you're contributing at that 15%, plug it into a calculator. See exactly what the dollar amount is going to be when you're looking at 20, 30, even 40 years down the road before you get into retirement. Wealth accumulation is a steady progression over time, ultimately helping you achieve that $1 million status in retirement. And we're not talking net worth millionaires. We are talking about having investment portfolios with $1 million plus sitting in them when you get ready to retirement. Now, again, national average, they are saying $1.24 million in a retirement plan. Even for the younger generation, they are saying much higher than that, $1.4 to $1.5 million in a retirement plan to comfortably retire when they are ready, which is kind of crazy. So number 5, balance the portfolio with a diversified investments. This again is something where a lot of plans vary based on age. They have target date funds, which I'm not really too impressed with. I know in my company they do offer the Vanguard target date funds. Not too impressed with the lineup and the performance of the funds, but definitely making sure that you have a diversified portfolio, which of course, me personally, I do this with ETFs. I do only ETF investing. I do not buy individual stocks if they let you do. This really hedges the bets, spreads your risk across a bunch of different sectors, making sure that you have kind of everything within a well-rounded portfolio will not only mitigate that risk, but optimize the growth that you have in there. Number 6, avoiding fees. Out of everything, I hate paying fees for everything and anything. Even small fees can take a huge chunk out of your portfolio when you look at the 1% fee or the 1.5% fee. When again, you start taking that out 20 or 30 years, chances are you can take about 20-30% of that portfolio that you'd have and give it away in fees. Some places have annual fees, some have monthly fees, which is kind of crazy. So make sure you want to keep as many of those retirement dollars as you can yourself. Now, of course, 401k and IRA millionaires have a very strong habit of steering away from any expensive fees, whether it is fund fees, whether it is management fees. Be very cautious and be careful when you look at the investment portfolio, picking low, affordable fees and options that will really grow your portfolio a lot faster. The rise of ETFs honestly is a game changer where again, you can literally invest in something like what Warren Buffett says, investing in the VOO where you're in the Vanguard S&P 500 and really putting the money in there. You are diversified across all of the different sectors, all of the different industries and the 500 largest companies in the United States, meaning risk mitigation factor is literally in there from one single thing. And I have been checking out the VFMO, which of course is that Vanguard Momentum Fund. Really, really cool. So normally it takes roughly 7 years for your money to double. In this fund, we are actually looking at less than 5 years. They've produced over 100% return, which means your money would have doubled in 5 years instead of 7 years, which again, the compounding, the growth factor exponentially can make money. Now, next one we look at, they will never make early withdrawals. This again is something you have to focus on and you have to think. When you're making early withdrawals, if you're under that 59.5, they're going to charge you a 10% penalty. You'll also have to pay other penalties. You have to pay tax. You have to pay a bunch of things depending on exactly how it works out. Again, there's a lot of caveats to this, a lot of different things where you can take money out. Some people do it for like first-time home buyers. Guys, retirement accounts are meant for retirement and used for retirement only. Nothing else. There shouldn't be, hey, I'm taking out a loan, from my retirement, from my 401k to go on vacation, to buy a car, to buy a house. Retirement funds are earmarked for exactly that. They are meant for retirement. You have to make sure that you're leaving them in there with the consistent contributions to make sure that you're going to retire on time. Now, of course, when you look at the taxes you pay, plus the fees you pay, early withdrawals. So if you're taking out $10,000, chances are out of the $10,000 you take, you'll actually see $7,000 of that because of course, 20% by law is taken out for taxes. And then we have the 10% IRS penalty if you're not 59.5, making it super expensive to take money out of the IRA. And this is really the deterrent to taking money out of that IRA. All right, guys, let me know what you guys think about these key habits and I'll catch you in the next video.